Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Growth and Blessing Podcast. You in here with your boy, Big Dave, and today I'm in here just, I'm in here just vibing today. Uh, First off, let me say thank you to everybody out there that's been watching, tuning in, man, showing us number of love and support, man. Much love and respect to y'all, man. Sending y'all number growth of blessings. And I'm gonna be doing something different. I just wanna share a little bit about me, I guess you could say, and not only me, stories that others done been through, situations that I done been through with other people, things that God brought me through on my journey, as far as me, before I got into Christ, before I got out of Christ, while I got out of Christ, getting back into Christ, just, now I'm just getting myself back together tight right with the good Lord, man. I can't go no other way. Can't do it without him, because he gonna sit you down some type of way, somehow. He gonna get your attention. And everybody different. And for me, it started some years ago, just being confused. I don't know, I know everybody out there done been confused, trying to figure out which way to go, how the good Lord want them to go about certain situations, and we all go through that. And a lot of times we fight it. Like right now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been fighting it. And with honestly, like with this podcast situation, I really been fighting it because he gave me this platform on a whole nother level. Because I asked him, show me a way that you want me to share your word. Lord, show me a way of how you want to use me. And for years, I'm a positive person. I could be negative, I'm no different from everybody else. I could be real negative, and I'm not. That's not the road that I'm on. And a lot of times I'll be negative with me. Not trying to go that route no more. Like seriously. Because I noticed the difference between that, and I got some speaking up on that negativity. I'm straight out the good book. Where it started for me was when I was raised Catholic. So at a young age I started learning about tithing and offerings. I didn't understand it, and I remember right before I made my confirmation, the week of, I quit religion, quit going to catechism, religion class, whatever. And I just remember quitting. And I remember my great grandmother, she was a real heavy Catholic, and that's how we was raised. My great grandmother. And I remember when I didn't show up, I disappointed her so much because I didn't finish, and it hurted me. But I think that was one of the most hardest things for me to explain to her, was my truth, and that was me not understanding the Catholic religion. Like I don't. There's no knock to it at all. Lord knows there's no knock. I still remember everything about it, a good bit, let me say that. And I just didn't understand it. And it was weird because coming up, my great grandfather would go to church. He was Baptist, and she would never want us to go to church with him. That's that was as I got older, I understood why on her part, and I got stories, man. Lord knows I got stories, and I'm gonna tell it. I'll really be telling it, and I hope that y'all stick around to listen. So jumping back in this situation where I got into paying my tithes because I completely stopped, and I was working construction then. I was welding then, and I was at Conoco. Yeah, it was Conoco. I think they changed the name to Phillips 66. So I was at Conoco, right? And one thing about construction, man, you're gonna meet a lot of different walks of life. You're gonna meet some people that, you just gonna meet a lot of people. Good people, bad people, people that God didn't save, people that been in the penitentiaries, gamblers. Like to me, as I get deeper into the Bible, these are the people that I walk among. I walk amongst these people, and I'm hearing them and getting to know them. You be like, dang, man, you just made a mistake, or you just took the wrong road in life. Let me say that. It wasn't never to judge them. Their stories was very interesting. So I was one, as I got older, I'm like, man, I ain't paying my tithes. I'm not giving the church my money. I'm not, I see how these pastors living, and, so on and so forth. I had every excuse in the world not to do it. I didn't understand it. But for some reason, like, God just been calling me to talk about certain things. And even then, in my younger days, I was confused because I didn't know about much. I didn't, really know how to talk to some people about it. And one of my grandmothers, she was real big into church. Shout out to my grandma Tithing, man. I love her to death. My grandma Ronnie, all of them. So my grandma B, everybody was different. Shout out to all my grandparents. I was one that was fortunate to be raised around the majority of my grandparents. Like, I got to see a lot, so I'm thankful. I thank God for that. And when I get to Conoco, we on this job. I met this guy. This older guy's name was Mr. Tony. I can't remember his last name. I want to say, but I don't want to say his last name. I might be wrong, but I met him, and he was in the church. But the story he told me behind him getting into church, it caught my attention. And he was telling me, he and I was talking. We'll talk every day. And he was like, I got in the church, man, and, this and that. And back then, I ain't gonna lie to you, sometimes I wouldn't want to hear it. You know how you got them people that just sit up there and be trying to preach to you, but they really not on that, they not on that walk they self. Like, they trying to get you to do something, but then they ain't doing it type thing. So for a long time, I'll be like, I hit them with the Heisman. Man, I ain't trying to hear that, bro. Go ahead with that. But this guy right here, he, it was different. So when he got into telling me his story, he was like, just explaining. And he told me, he was like, man, I was on drugs. But he said my main problem that I had bad was gambling. So he was like, gambling, man, I was just addicted to shooting dice, going to the casinos, playing with the high rollers, this, that. He telling me all his money he won, and the money he lost, and the things that he went through, and just it was some crazy stories that he told me. And this went on for about a week, and I remember it was a Thursday. I think he was working 5/10s at the time. And he told me, he said, he asked me, he said, do you pay your tithes, man? I say, nah, Mr. Tony, I don't believe in that. He say, what you mean? He say, why not? Talk to me. And I remember he and I sitting down by this tank, and we sat down. It was towards the end of the day, and getting ready to knock off. And he was like, tell me. And I started telling him, how I came up, telling them about the Catholic religion, my beliefs, and why I don't pay my tithes, and so on and so forth, right? So he was like, man, I respect that. He said, I used to be like that too, until God set me down, man, like, and stripped me from everything. Like, I'm not gambling no more. I don't know what to do. I didn't know what to do in my life. We was in debt, this, that. I mean, he ran down his whole life story of how he was up here and God brought him back down. He said, it's in the Bible, man, where God speaks about paying tithes. I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, you believe in the Bible? I said, yeah, I believe in the Bible, man. He said, you don't read the Bible? I said, nah, to be honest with you, I don't. Besides in church when they ask you to go to the scripture, this and that, I wasn't tuned into that, right? Like I said, this 2011, and so he go, if I bring the Bible tomorrow and show you where it says about paying your tithes, would you reconsider? I said, okay, cool. He said, man, because when you start paying your tithes, things gonna change in your life. That's all he said. I'm like what? He said, well, I can't speak for you. I can only speak for what he did for me. He got to telling me the things, and I'm like, yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, like, well, so maybe that's just God doing that. I'm still not thinking your tithes got something to do with him, blessing you and showing you these different things and way of life, right? I said, all right, I tell you what, you do that, I'm gonna think about it. Me, I'm thinking he BSing me. I ain't gonna lie, I'm thinking he BSing me, man. I'm like, man, he ain't coming with that. The next morning, sure enough, in my words, my name is Dave. He came to me and he was like, we gonna have a little talk today. I'm like, all right, cool. Towards the end of the day, he hit me with it. He just walked up to me with his Bible open and he said this. He said, Malachi, chapter 3. Yeah, he said Malachi, chapter 3, 3 through 8. He said, and no lie, man. He ran it down to me just like this. He said, you have cheated me for the tithes and offerings due to me. You are under a curse, for your whole nation has been cheating me. Bring all the tithes into the storehouse, so there will be enough food in my temple. If you do, says the Lord, I will open the windows of heaven for you. I will pour out blessings so great you won't have enough room to take them in. Try it. Put me to the test. Your crop will be abundant, for I will guard them from insects and diseases. Your grapes will not fall from the vine before they are ripe, says the Lord. Then all nations will call you blessed, for your land will be such a delight, says the Lord of heaven's armies. Just like that. And I remember that because that was the first Bible scripture that I read it like I read it. He gave me the Bible. After he read it to me, he said, read that. I tell you no lie. So I'm like, yeah, I see it. Had a long talk, and he was like, man, it's something about you that you just don't see within yourself yet. Like, he was like, man, God telling me to tell you this. Again, I'm thinking he fluking. I'm like, man, I ain't. All right, here we go with one of them stories, right? So I'm like, all right, now mind you, at this time of my life, I'm going through the most. Like, I'm going through all kind of stuff, man. I'm going through, you know, baby mama drama. I'm going through the most, bro. Like, and it had just started for me on another level. And I couldn't understand. I'm like, man, I'm making all this money. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all them welders out there, them boys that's getting their bread. And I'm like, man, I'm making all this money and I can't come ahead. I just can't get ahead on nothing. Like, I'm not understanding why. I'm not understanding what is it that he I'm just not understanding, right? So I tell Mr. Tony this. He said, man, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. This what got me. He said, I'm only telling you what God want me to tell you. He said, hear me out when I tell you this. And at this time, I used to hear all kind of people say stuff like, you know, God told me to say this. God told me to tell you this. God told me this. I came up like that too, hearing my grandparents say that. I used to question, like, how God telling you this? I never understood it, right, at those times. So, cool. Went on. That stayed on my mind for a minute. Went to another job right across the street, Southside, man. Shout out to them boys over there at Southside, Westlake, man. They know who they are. Love. Now, at this time, it's 2012. Fast forward. 2012, I moved back home. Shout out Eunice, Louisiana. Shout out. I moved back home from Lake Charles, Louisiana. And I was going through so much. You know, I remember my great-grandmother calling me and she was like, son, I need you to come home. Like, God telling me to tell you to come home. Like, I don't care what you gotta do. I'm gonna help you put everything in the storage and come home. You're gonna get yourself in trouble out there. It's too much, it's this, it's that. And I'm like, all right, mom. And I did that. So I go home, nothing changing, man. Like, I'm just going through the most. And my mom used to always tell me, and she still do until this day, you know what I'm saying? Shout out mom. She go, one day you gonna get tired. But this time, I ain't see Mr. Tony since 2011 after they transferred us across the street. And this time, when it was told to me, I immediately thought about Mr. Tony, because he told me, he said, man, when you gonna get tired of running from God, he gonna sit you down, man, and you ain't gonna have no choice but to make things right. Like, you ain't gonna have no choice but to make it right with him. I promise you that. He said, he set me down, and your time coming, because you got a calling on your life. You just gotta follow it, man. He saying, you gonna mess up here and this and that. And I just remember just thinking about all this. So I'm in the crib, got me a little crib on Happy Hill, man. Shout out Happy Hill, home of the true players, you know what I'm saying? No disrespect to the homies on the other side of the town, you know what I'm saying? But shout out Happy Hill for real. And I'm in the crib. I came home from work that day. It was cold. I remember like it was yesterday, man. It was the beginning of February. I walked in the house and I was going through so much, and I just remember saying, I had a mirror in my little hallway, right? I said, Lord, I can't do this shit no more. Excuse my language. That was my exact words, because I was always told, they said, hey, talk to the good Lord like you talk to anybody else. That was my exact words. I can't do this ish no more. I just can't. And I remember my great grandfather got sick at the time. He used to always ask me, son, when you gonna come to church with me? When you gonna come to church? I'm like, Pop, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna come. You know what I'm saying? But I never wanted to make my great grandmother mad, because she was big on the Catholic name. And So I remember just like God kept telling me, go to True Light Baptist Church. Shout out True Light on the real. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ever in Eunice, Louisiana, y'all go check out True Light, and shout out to all the other churches at home as well. You know what I'm saying? But shout out True Light, man. And I went to True Light. I remember walking in when I walked in, Rev was preaching. You know what I'm saying? And we caught eye contact. And the man watched me, and I watched him till I sat down in that pew, right? And man, it's bringing back memories. So I remember that was the first day I ever took 10% of my check. Now, mind you, I'm doing bad. I'm on my face. You know what I'm saying? I done went to being on my pockets to on my face. And I'm like, all right, God, this was my exact words. I said, all right, Lord, I'm gonna trust you to see how far this is gonna take me. I took my last, I paid my little bills, took out my little gas money, because now I'm driving back and forth from the E to the lake, you know. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna give this a shot. Boom. And I remember that was besides my gas money, I ain't have no like seriously, I ain't have no food. I knew I had food, you know. I could go to my grandparents, my mom, my sister, you know, who I was dealing with at the time. Like, I knew, but I'm not telling nobody my financial situation, you know what I'm saying? So that was it. Next thing you know, he go, I remember walking up to the church, in the church, walking up to pay my tithes, and God telling me, I got you. True story, man. I'm not making this up, right? Boom, paid my tithes. Made it through that week, got some overtime, off on that Sunday, going back to church, pay my tithes again. Now, mind you, a couple weeks passed. I met the pastor, man, Rev, man. Shout out Rev Tizano. Me and him, we tight right. That's my man. That man changed my life. He helped me change my life. He ain't gonna take the credit, but he know. He always say, you know, God did this, man, and he did. And so I remember sitting down with him when the study, we talking, and I told him real spill, man. I remember telling him everything I said about my tithes and, you know, the situation. And he said, why you don't believe in that? And I told him, I said, man, I just don't believe in, you know, giving my money to somebody. I don't know what they doing with the money, this and that. We want some young ignorant stuff, bro. Like, when I think back of the word play I used then, it was on some bull. And I'm like, man. And he was just sitting there listening. He said, you know what? He let me finish, and he said, you know what, man? He said, a lot of people that come in there and talk to me, man, they feel the same way. I done met people from, you know, before, and, you know, everybody feel the same way. He said, but let me break this down to you. Now, check this out. He said, one, when you give 10% to the church, he said everything gonna start changing for you. He said, because this way he got me. He said, just listen to this. He told me, he said, why is it so hard to give 10% to the house of the Lord? Because with that 10%, you keeping his lights on, you helping people that need help, you keeping his word flowing, you keeping his house open. Like, a lot of people don't understand that. And he was like, God is giving you 100% life, and all he's asking you for is 10% of your earnings. Got me. I swear to God, I kid you not, man, that changed everything for me. In that moment, I said, whoa, to myself. He said, because all God wants you to do is help keep his house open for those that don't know him, for those that need him, for those that's trying to get to know him. Man, he broke down so many different ways, and I got it. Like, right there, I'm like, dang, that's what Mr. Tony was trying to tell me, right? And I was like, from way back, from 2011 to 2013, I'm like, I just been going through the most behind what? And I've been feeling it, like he been telling me, and he was showing me ways, and I'm like, dang, why I did all this for that? And that's all he asking me for is 10%. 10%. But it says right here, you know, you have cheated me. You have cheated me of the tithes and offerings due to me. You are under a curse. Woo. Got me. I'm like, man, so check this out. Cool. In my mind, because it wasn't broke down to me like that before, but in my mind, before Rev and I had this conversation, I'm like, man, I'm gonna pay my tithes. God gonna start blessing me with money. And nah, that's not where it started for me. He started at the lowest point of my life. Like the lowest. Like everything was messed up for me. Everything was messed up for me, man. I was just confused. I didn't have no type of guidance, no direction. I didn't have no understanding or nothing to lean on. I ain't have nothing to stand on, honestly. I ain't even know how I was making it. I just was making it. But I would complain, and stay tuned on that one. That's gonna be the next one, I believe. So I would complain, man, and just, I'm like, dang, bro, you know. And I noticed when I would complain around certain people, they was liking it, cause now they got something to talk about me bad. Man, ooh, he ain't doing this and this and that. Ooh. And mind you, I'm making money. I'm making good money. I wasn't seeing it. True story, man. I started paying my tithes and offerings. I came home one day. I used to it was on a Sunday. My daughter, I used to have to her and her mom, I used to meet up with her mom halfway. Her and I meet up, and couldn't find my keys. I literally just got in from church, and I was on the phone with my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I've been looking for my keys. She was like, yeah, I could tell you looking for something. I can't find them. I know when I walked in, I set my keys on my couch right when I walked in the house. I know that. It was right by the door. Couldn't find them keys, and the little crib I had wasn't big at all, man. So I'm like, man, I know I ain't crazy. I'm looking. So I had the sofa that reclined. Kept looking under there. See papers in their mail under there, you know what I'm saying? We all do it. I'm gonna catch it later. I don't feel like grabbing it. My mind is to get on this, you know, to meet up with my daughter's mom. I ain't feel like going through the arguing and this and that. So I'm like, man, what's going on? I say, Mom, I'm gonna have to call you back. I sat down on that sofa. Literally, I was looking for them keys for about 40 minutes. I sat on that sofa. I said, Lord, I said a quick prayer. I said, Lord, I know I'm being tested right now. Help me calm down to find these keys so I can make it to bring my daughter back. I pray and ask this in your son Jesus Christ's name. I sat down, took a little breather, Some told me, go back under that couch and grab the papers. The papers. I grabbed the paper, the mail, looking through the mail. And then mind you, I just went to child support court, right? The Wednesday, I'll never forget, true story. Just went to child support court. I come back, and my exact words was, man, not what these people want now, man. Man, bro, I just went over there, and I'm upset because I couldn't find the keys, and I'm talking that rah. Some told me again, calm down, get the rest of the mail from underneath your sofa. Cool. Grab the mail, another child support letter. I said, man, let me open it. I opened it. True story. I opened it. A check. I'm dead broke. I had just put my last $100. Didn't know I had honestly. Shout out Andre Mitchell, man. Big Onk. I love him to death, man. For real. You know what I'm saying? He and I was carpooling together. And I remember asking him at church, I say, Onk, man, I might have to ride with you this week and catch you on the next one. Tapped out. Man, you know I got you. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Drake. And when I opened that mail, when I opened that letter, it was a check from the child support people, man, for $738. I'm like, man, there's no way. I owed them back time. I just finished paying back time, and I owed them again. And that's what I went back to court for. And I'm like, nah, something ain't right. I ain't cashing this. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking, and right after that, I kid you not, man, I had then dug and stripped my whole house looking for these keys. I looked to my left, real talk, looked to my left, the keys was in the middle, knowing that I didn't look right on a few times. They was right there in between the couch and the armrest. Grabbed the keys, went drop my baby off. The next day I called the child support people. And I said, I think y'all made a mistake. The lady said, what you mean? She said, well, anybody know child support, they call you back. You know what I'm saying? So she called back, and I was like, I got a check in the mail. This ain't for me. I'm not cashing it. She was like, no, it's yours. I said, how? And I owe y'all. She said, no, you overpaid us. I say, nah, I don't believe it. I say, man, I'm telling you, I owe y'all. She said, no, you overpaid us. That's yours. Go ahead and cash it. Man, I can't make this up. And that's just one. That was the first time God showed me. Lean on me. Lean on me. I got you, man. I got you. Right then and there, I knew. Paying my tithes and offerings, not for the money. It was the faith that I had in him and that he had in me. And by me showing him that I was being faithful to his word and doing what it was that he wanted me to do. I wasn't cheating him, man. I wasn't cheating God. I was not cheating him. I was like, man, you deserve it, because now I got an understanding of why we pay tithes, right? I got a real understanding. You giving me 100% life, and all you asking me for is 10% of my earnings to keep your house open for those that really need you, include myself. Man, I got you. Man, when I tell you that man blessed me, he started blessing me, man, not just with money, with knowledge, understanding. Check this out. Wisdom, the serenity prayer, basically. But the main thing he started blessing me with was with peace. I needed so much peace in my life. It was so disruptive, man. It was unbelievable. Like, I kid you not, it was unbelievable. And I had to share this story because he been on me tough, and I've been fighting the good Lord, man. Not getting on this platform talking about what it is that he want me to talk about, and that's his word, and to share a lot of life changing experiences for me, man. You know what I'm saying? And I can't, the stories that I'm gonna be on here telling, there's real life events, like real things that really happen. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to everybody that's walking in Christ, man, that's walking with God. Man, I salute y'all, and I'm proud of y'all, man, and I'm happy that, you chose that route. Don't give up, because it's gonna be times you will be tested by the good Lord, man. You will be tested by the good Lord. And for those that don't believe, he gonna sit you down. And mark my words, he will sit you down. You, one way or another, you gonna get them. You gonna feel them. You gonna feel them. I promise you that. And I want to share that, man. And I'm gonna be on here talking about this until I can't no more. For real. Straight positivity, no negativity around here. Shout out to everybody out there that's supporting. And I encourage somebody, man, to just get to know him, man. Give him a chance. Pay your tithes and offerings, man. You know what I'm saying? Show love. Even if you can't give the full 10%, just start doing something and just watch how things change, man. Like, really, like I'm telling you, he started me from the lowest point of my life and brought me back. And I got away from it. And I seen how much my life changed. So I knew, okay, cool. I'm cheating them again. I can't do that. I gotta get back tight right with them. You know what I'm saying? And I promise you, man, there's gonna be things in your life that you didn't understand before. You're gonna get it, man. You're gonna get it. I promise you that. Shoot, man, if you think I'm lying, man, hit me up. Shoot me an email. Shoot me an email, man, at growth.blessings27@gmail.com. Tell me, man. Holler at me and give me your input on it. And that's where I started. And then it just started flowing. And I will be on here telling the rest. You know what I'm saying? From on a positive point. No negativity, man. You know what I'm saying? So much love and respect to everybody out there, man. I'm sending y'all number growth and blessings, man. Shout out Big Cuz Sweets Dallas. He ain't on there with me today, but we be back on here real soon. Stay tuned, man. You gonna see guests coming, and I'm on a different level, man. I'm at peace again with me, and it feel good talking about this, man, because I know this is what he want me to do, so I'm gonna do that. Ain't no turning back from this. So I'm tight right with him, bro. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to everybody out there, man, and much love and respect, man. You know what I'm saying? Love.